What's up, guys? It's McNulty here. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are all doing well, and I hope you're ready because we have our penultimate video in the series, and we are going to be looking at the best of the best fire heroes in the legendary category for Empires and Puzzles in 2024. So it's like the Olympics for fire heroes in Empires and Puzzles. So I hope you guys are strapped in. So we have got quite a bevy of BUURN dealers and crazy ass heroes to have a look at today, and we have 125 heroes in total. So what we're going to try and do is just pick out the absolute best of the best, the S tier heroes in the fire element, and then we're going to count down the top 10, at least my top 10 fire heroes in Empires and Puzzles. So let's get started. So as we look at the top row on the far left hand side, we've got my man Alucard, who's just such a great hero, just an excellent minion destroyer, really good, but I would say potentially pretty niche because his damage isn't that great, but when it comes to minion wars you can have a lot of fun with Alucard, so definitely makes the cut for me. Now, Amber next to him, on the other hand, who was the most recent release into the Halloween family, is just a terrible looking hero, and really not that great. So she doesn't make the cut. Aradia in the middle of the row over here is a fantastic hero. Definitely, I would say S tier for Aradia. Ares, just one of the coolest looking heroes in the whole entire game. So, I mean, just for that, I give him an A+. But he does have a really good family bonus, and the costume bonus for the older heroes is really good now as well. So I do like Ares with the costume. Asterius, unfortunately, doesn't have as much power as he did when he was first released. He has a pretty hard hit, but it's just not what it used to be. So he doesn't quite make the cut. Still usable though, but yeah, unfortunate for him. And then Aslar. Just one of those cool heroes that's been around since the very beginning. I do like him, although he is running at slow speed. And he gets his Toon costume now, so I guess we can give him props for that. Do I think he's S tier, though? Probably not quite. I think he's probably an A+ hero, but not quite in the same realm as some of these other guys. Now, Balder next to him, pretty cool effect. Again, just a very sort of strange hero to play with, and doesn't really have that big of an impact when you're going up against him on defense, so not usable in all areas. So I don't think he makes the cut. Now, next to him though, we've got two monsters. We've got Barkley, who's an absolute beast, great ether talent with the element immunity, great class with the fighter class, and just a devastating special skill with those fiends and the damage from those rockets. And again, one of the funniest looking heroes in the game. Just look at those googly eyes. He's so cute, man. I love Barkley. And then next to him, we've got Black Caesar, who's just a beast of a fiend summoner, does a heck of a lot of damage, and he's received a pretty decent buff recently as well. Plus, that mana shield doesn't go amiss. So definitely both of those S tier heroes for me. And then you've got Black Knight, especially with the costume for Black Knight, still just the best taunt hero in the fire element. I absolutely love Black Knight, so nothing bad to say about him. And then next to him, Blossom. I do like Blossom. She's an excellent healer, but not quite as strong as some of the other heroes in the same family. But she does get that boost, that heal boost as well, from the core. So she's a really good hero, Blossom. And then moving on to the next row. Sorry, I didn't quite give her due justice. She does look pretty cool. I'll give her that much. She would be an S tier healer for me for sure. The next row, we've got Bone Crusher. Just great name and absolutely devastating hit. Just a really hard single target smash and kill. Just a great hero for upfront damage and for taunt busting and for all that kind of stuff. And he's running at fast speed as well. And then next to him, Brimstone is a monster. He just looks like the demon of hell. Like, he is just literally probably one of the scariest heroes to go up against, because you know you've only got a certain amount of rounds. And even though he seems to, like, on his card it says he only hits for 200 damage, it's just a team wiping, team killing special, and it's really difficult to come back from. So a fantastic hero there. Anyone else from this row? Definitely not Captain Nemo. Cardinal Richelieu. Man, there's some good heroes in the fire element. He's just an insanely good hero. Just everything that he should be. He hits. He's got a decent hit, all special. The fiends that steal the ailments, I mean, steal the buffs, are fantastic as well. It's just a great hero, Cardinal Richelieu. And then I'm going to say Carmenta's an excellent hero as well. I mean, she would be in the S tier category for me. Chomper, another one. I mean, I love hitters and healers. If you haven't got that by now, I really love hitters and healers. And Chomper went a little bit under the radar, but I've seen him or her or whatever it is. It's a guinea pig, so I don't know what the gender is. But I've seen Chomper appearing on quite a few defense teams, and I think Chomper does a pretty good job. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe not quite S tier, maybe like an A plus hero in Chomper. And then Cleaver on the end of the row, I'm not going to put in the same category. Still a good hero, but just not in the same ilk as some of these guys. Cookie from the Christmas Heroes, fantastic, but not quite making the cut. Probably an A grade hero for me. Cupido. I mean, we're probably going to look at all of these heroes by now. I mean, that's just the sense I get. I wasn't intending to, but they're all really good so far. And Cupido is a fantastic hero. The first ever hero to have the healing gift instead of the mindless attack. And it really is great because it just it gives you that extra healing that you need for your team. And the amount of damage of a slash attack is really not where it's at with the mindless attack. Where it's at is that the target you hit is reducing their mana, and the same thing happens with the healing gift as well. So fantastic hero, definitely S tier Cupido. Next to him, D'Artagnan, the face of the Musketeers portal, still an excellent hero, fantastic sniper, and a truckload of burn damage, so he can definitely wipe a team pretty damn quickly, and also a great ether talent for D'Artagnan as well. And then next to him, we've got Damon. Damon's a fantastic hero, definitely S tier, just released into the new Knights heroes that we've had. Right class, running at very fast speed, attack up ether talent, just a great hero. So definitely S tier for Damon as well. Domiventus, right next to him as well. I'm going to say S tier. The great thing about the Untold Tales family heroes is just that special goes off so quickly, and it charges up really fast. So at fast speed, most of them doing a very similar thing to what they do on the first and the second charge. And if it's a special that's any good, you know it's going to be impactful. So as good as any fast speed hero, and fantastic amount of damage. Plus, he's received a recent buff with the February balance update. So Domiventus definitely makes the cut. Doxan next to him, really not that good of a hero from the Elemental Summon. Ebba, a bit too slow. El Duke. Elba, I do really like, but she is a little bit limited in terms of what she does. And I think there's a bit of a delay, and I'm not a fan of the delay effect after she hits. So yeah, even though she wasn't featured because she was supposed to be the strongest hero in the Valentine summon, she does have her limitations. Now, moving on into the next row, we have, let's see who we have that's really, really good from this row. Nobody yet. Nobody yet. I mean, Flip's a really good hero, I'd say. Just a great healer, and obviously he gives the bypass effect as well. And I think, I might be wrong, but I think he gives some kind of crit up as well. But just a fantastic healer. So I do like Flip a lot. I would say Flip would be, for me, an S tier hero. Just a great 5-star healer that you can throw in pretty much anywhere, and he'll do the job really well. Fulvia, though, unfortunately, she is probably like one of my least favorite of the new owls because her effect doesn't work the way it's supposed to. And I will kick myself if they correct this hero to what she should have been. But the problem with Fulvia is that mana cut applies at the end of the turn. And it means that she's really not as effective as I imagine that she was supposed to be upon release. So she doesn't quite make the cut, unfortunately, even though she is one of the newest heroes in the game. Now, Garnet's a fantastic hero still, even though her stats are very dated. I would say just for the ailment protect, she's a fantastic hero. And in this row, Gestalt is a beast. I mean, his effect that he does, running at fast speed, dropping those magma cubes, and doing that damage, but it also increases, and then there's another hit like 3 turns afterwards. He is a fantastic, fantastic hero. Definitely S tier hero. You'll see him in all of the top defenses littered around. He's just a great hero. Old Gravemaker, not anymore, mate. At one point, you were the best hero in the game, but that time has come and gone, unfortunately. Guardian Kong's a fantastic hero with the costume. I would definitely say S tier for Guardian Kong with the costume. And then in the next row, who do we have? Hathor. I mean, the new costume for Hathor. Yeah, enough said. She's a fantastic healer, a lot of versatility, ailment immunity, the boosted health that runs over a certain amount of turns. She's just super difficult to deal with, and that 100% passive is, anyway, it's just insane. She's a great hero. Hohenworth, I would say not quite, probably like A plus. I mean, he's a good hero, and he does have his usability, and he's pretty good against Gigi, whatever her name is, with the poison damage because he gets the poison immunity. But that is about where it ends, unfortunately for Hohenworth. Hornfell, another one. I mean, Hornfell, I thought his effect was going to be so great when he was released, and I took my time to kind of research it and figure out what was exactly going on with this knockback effect and how it worked. But apparently, it's really not that great. So, unfortunately, he does not seem to be working as intended. I dare say we may see a buff for him in the future, but for now, he's definitely falling down, especially amongst the other construct heroes. He's just not as good as he was supposed to be in any way, shape, or form. And then Ignacio, my man, the Red Rigard 5-star is just an absolute monster of a healer. Absolutely love him. Just a fast speed heal and cleanse, and a massive heal in a lot of circumstances. Just really versatile. So I would say S tier, because I know how good he is and how usable he can be. Not quite as good on defense. He's a bit of a liability on defensive teams, unfortunately. In fact, I've gotten more into the habit of making defensive teams now where there isn't any healer, or if there is a healer, that it's a hitter that heals as well. So yeah, just a great healer in Ignacio. And then nobody else from that row. Now moving into the next row, Khufu's an absolute beast, S tier all day long. Just huge damage and a great effect, really usable against Titans in events, in whatever the hell you want to put him in. He's fantastic. And then from this next row, that's about it, to be fair. Luena's an interesting effect, but not an S tier hero. And then Marjana. Marjana is just one of the most versatile heroes in the game. I mean, I would put her in the same vein as somebody like Toon Leonidas or Costume Leonidas. Just each costume has its own usability, and she's just so versatile that you can. I reckon you could put her on any single team that you would want, for any different area of the game, and you would always have a spot for her in terms of just what you need, and she can be the right thing at the right time. If you need a sniper, she's a sniper. If you need elemental defense down, she's elemental defense down. If you need burn damage, she's there. Whatever you need, she's got it, and she's got it in spades, and with the introduction of the Toon costume, just that much more. So fantastic hero in Toon Marjana, definitely S tier. And that is it for that row. So I think I just gave something away there. That was a mistake, but we will get back to that in a second. So Toon Marjana. Now moving on, we've got Nima. A pretty good Fiend Summoner, but definitely not S tier. And then normal Norman. He is holding his own at the top, and he is a fantastic hero. He's just a great hero for just busting through absolutely anything that you need to bust through. He is extremely good. There is no messing with normal Norman, and so many fighters in this in the Fire Heroes. It seems just an excellent talent class as well, and one of the newer heroes in the game. So fantastic hero, and just received a buff, so you couldn't want much more. Otis running at slow speed, but still, I would say an S tier hero. He just hits like an absolute truck. And right next to him, Pepper Flame, our newest Goblins hero, and she is very, very good. I mean, she's definitely S tier, and she is just a fantastic hero. She hits hard, and her after effects are devastating. Now, moving on, let's see how many rows do we have left? About 4 rows left. So we've got Puss in Boots. Nah. Ray from this row is fantastic. I would say definitely S tier. I'm lucky enough to have Ray, and his dispel at super fast speed is immense. He also gives defense down against fire and a pretty decent amount of burn damage. And then if you do get him to his second charge, he can be there for a cleanse and increase attack against nature, and benefits from the ether talent with the element immunity as well. So an S tier hero in Ray. And then Ruffian and Nergib, surprisingly, I would say I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say Ruffian and Nergib is the best hero of the month that Empires and Puzzles have ever released. I know that's a massive statement, and even going back to the old days, you know, the Telluria, Vila days, everybody else that's been released as a hero of the month, I would say Ruffian and Nergib is just an absolutely brilliant hero. The fact that she steals such a decent amount of mana, she hits so hard, she heals, she gets mana upon healing. She's just a great hero and supports the whole team really, really well. And then Ruby, we can't forget about Ruby, even though her stats are really getting a little bit dated now. She's just an excellent control hero as well. So having the two of them next to each other really makes for a really good comparison, because they're both incredible heroes. I did just skip over Phonexa. I'm seeing her there. She's looking at me like, why did you leave me out? She's an S tier hero as well. Just a fantastic hero from the Bard family. Great healer. And I would love to get my hands on her. She's just a great hero. Now moving on to the third last row. Who do we have from here? We've got... I'm not going to say Santa. I'm not going to say Santa. Serendite is a great hero. I'm not going to... I don't know if he's S tier. I think like he does do a lot of damage. He does have that burn. It's quite a lot of burn as well. Yeah, let's go ahead and put him in the S tier. He's good enough. Just. And then Sparklight. One of the most recently featured heroes, one of the Astral Elves, and he is an S tier hero all day long. Just a huge amount of damage, fantastic hitter, and just can disable, well, pretty much the whole entire enemy team. So an excellent hero in Sparklight. Then second to last row, I would say Torben is an S tier hero. His effect where he increases the damage. Funnily enough, I mean, some circumstances he's really usable, and he is running at fast speed, so I feel like he should be a little bit better than he is in practice. Maybe it's just that the damage isn't quite as much as somebody like Quentin's was. But yeah, he does a good job. But just... yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just expecting too much from the heroes nowadays. He's a fantastic hero, and again, I would say S tier. And then moving along, Yukinen, really good hero. I mean, he makes an excellent tank, and he can be very frustrating because of his immunity to buff dispels that he puts up after he hits. The regen does help him. The revive does help him as well. So I'd say he's an S tier hero from this list as well. And then Zenda, just a weird timing release into the Underwild Summon, but an excellent hero. And again, another fighter. Like, really? Are they all fighters? Is everybody's fighters in the fire element? I bet we probably got the most fighters in the fire element of any other element in the game. But yeah, Zenda would make the cut for me. Fantastic hero. And then Zhao Tu's got to make the cut. I would say so far out of all of the The Luna family heroes, Zhao Tu would be my favorite. Just a really, really hard hit, and obviously that great passive disabling the minions. And then right next to her, somebody I didn't really think was going to be very impactful initially upon release, and she is kind of tricky to play with, but I have seen her used to very good effect, and she can be devastating. And it's kind of one of those heroes where you can take her up just one hero against a whole team, and if you've got the right board and you've got the right timing, you can make her work. She's a fantastic hero, definitely S tier for Ji Wang Mu. There's some dark magic going on with that hero for sure. And then I'm going to say that's it from this last row. So that is a breakdown of all of the I was going to say dark heroes, all of the fire heroes that we've got. And there are a lot of heroes that are really, really good in this fire element. So we are now going to commence counting down the top 10 fire heroes of Empires and Puzzles of all time up to now, up to February 2024. So without any further ado, let's go. Let's start with number 10. So we've got Toon Marjana. My girl Marjana is number 10. She's still holding it down after all these years. She can still hold her own. And for the reasons that I mentioned a second ago, she makes my number 10 spot. So she's just an excellent all-round hero. Such a lot of versatility, and now with the introduction of the Toon costume, she's got the stats to match it. She deals up to 538 damage to the target now, which feels like it can one-shot a hero pretty damn quickly with those new stats. And then I just love the elemental defense down as well for Marjana. Sadly, she's not one that I've managed to grab yet, but when the Toon portal comes around and she's featured, hopefully this time that's all going to change. So yeah, she makes my number 10 spot. Now moving on to number 9, we have Damon. So Damon is the first hero that I've actually put into these top 10 lists from the New Knights family. And I thought there might be more, so I have been sorely a little bit disappointed by some of them, although I do think that their effects are great, and I do think that there are some really good ones in there, but just not top 10 material until now. That is, because Damon definitely is. His special skill is reminiscent of Melosi in his heyday, and he's so much more powerful and just so much more effective that he's got to get this spot. So just a great control hero. He is of the right class. Now he dispels the buffs from the target first, blocks the talent skill activation for the target, so completely disabled. Deals a truckload of damage, 485% snipe at very fast speed, and then the target gets unable to cast any status effects on enemies or on allies for the following 3 turns. And by the time the enemy's up again, he's ready to fire again, because like I said, he's running at very fast speed, so it only takes 2 tile matches to charge this guy. And that's why he makes my number 9 spot. Just an excellent hero. Now moving on to number 8. We have the Cardinal, my man Cardinal Richelieu. And this was a difficult pick, actually, because this number 8 spot was going to go to a Fiend Summoner, but it was between Cardinal Richelieu and Black Caesar. And I know Black Caesar's newer and he hits harder and his fiends are bigger, and they give the attack down. And I was debating what's better, attack down or this guy where the Spy Fiend can steal one of the target's dispellable buffs. And you know what? I like a sneaky ass hero, so that's why Cardinal Richelieu won that battle of the Fiend Summoners, and he makes my number 8 spot. So a 330% damage hit to all enemies. Then the Fiend goes on. The Fiend's not as beefy as Black Caesar. Yeah, that's fine. It's 30% health. But the fact that it steals any dispellable buffs every turn, each Fiend stealing a little buff and giving it to a character on the opposite team, makes him just such a fun hero to play with. And of course, he gets the cover bonus as well, which, as you know by now, is one of my favorites. Now, moving on to our number 7 spot. That is reserved for the nightmare of all nightmares, Mr. Dommy Ventus, the Dominator. Again, a fighter hero. Funnily enough. And the Nightmares family bonus, I mean, the passive I really do love. He deals a huge amount of damage. You know, I think it's just been increased from this to like 385 or something, but to the target and nearby. And then they get that corrosive burn, which just eats away at them, lowers their defense every single turn. And then if you do manage to get him to his second charge, that's when you're wiping the whole team. So he's just a destroyer of worlds, a massive damage dealer, and he deserves the number 7 spot. Now, moving on to number 6, we have Brimstone, another monster. What do you know? Brimstone is, I would say, one of my favorites of the Construct family heroes. And yeah, I just love the way he looks, but I also love his special. I don't like facing him in any way, shape, or form, but I really do like what he does. So he deals a 200% damage hit to all enemies. And as I said before, it doesn't feel like a lot, but his construct core is the destructive core, and that can add up to an extra 180% damage. So why it feels so strong is because he's dealing not just that 200, but an additional 180, so up to 380% to all enemies at average speed. And then he whacks this massive horrible fiend on you, which damages you for 80% attack every turn and absorbs 35% of your healing. And the fiend gives negative 54% elemental defense against fire for as long as you've got this infernal fiend, and the effect can't be cleansed because it's attached to the fiend. And then all allies get increased defense against ice, so you can't take ice heroes against him. I mean, he's just a great all-rounder. Aside from the fact that he's of the barbarian class, he's got everything else going for him. So Brimstone makes my number 6. Now moving on to number 5, we and this is going to surprise some of you for sure. Hathor, not the original version of Hathor, but the costume version of Hathor. I have seen her in out of the top 100 defenses in raid defenses. I think she was in about 80 of them. And holding that spot just so well. And I'm convinced that it is because of not only the passive, but also because they've got things the right way around in terms of her special and the way she works. So, I mean, I would go out on a limb and say that Hathor now has just jumped into the top spot as the premier healer in the whole game right now as I'm talking to you on whatever date it is, the 16th of February 2024. So her stats have been given a massive boost. She's been given so many passives they can't even fit on the card. But the one that really, really matters the most is this 100% passive ability. And below that, she's got a resistance against mana ailments as well. So just a fantastic bunch of passives. But she now regenerates boosted health over 4 turns. And all allies get the immunity to new status ailments for 4 turns. So a really simple sounding special, but a fantastic healer. And that's why she makes my number 5 spot. At number 4, who do we have? Normal Norman. Another fighter, funnily enough. Another whole bunch of passives on his skill, and one that I actually underestimated initially because, I mean, the name of his special should have really given me a clue as to how devastating this hero is. But if you don't actually go up against him, you don't actually use him, or you don't actually read it maybe once, twice, 3 times over, then you won't understand how good this is. So he gets these passives which are like ignore, taunt and things like that, but the special skill also ignores dodge effects. So ignores taunt, ignores dodge effects. All allies get a 100% chance to bypass defensive buffs for 4 turns. And he deals 285% damage to all enemies. And that's just been increased to like 315% damage to all enemies. And he is literally the unstoppable hero in the game. If there's any hero you fire off and you know that he's going to be doing damage and that you're going to be in trouble after he fires, it is Normal Norman. And that is why he makes my number 4 spot. Now let's see. Top 3 now. 3rd place is Sparklight. So our newest astral elf alongside he's Star Walker. I'm really interested to see the other Astral Elves. To be fair, I'm can't wait for them to be released in the game because these guys are just insane. So his damage is humongous. Average speed, dealing 430% damage to the target and nearby. And then the target and nearby get a whopping 452 burn damage over 4 turns. Now, this card is without the limit breaks and emblems, so that does increase as well. And the caster and nearby absorb 45% of the dealt damage as boosted health, not just regular health, boosted health. So that's like an Aramis type effect, but it's running over time and it's linked to the burn damage. So it can be cleansed off, but you've got to have a cleanse ready to go right away, otherwise you're screwed. And then on top of all of that, the target and the nearby enemies reflect status effect buffs to a random character. So if you're thinking of buffing yourself in the next 4 turns after you get hit, think again. And that is so good, just because if you think about it, the first thing you're going to want to do is cleanse off that burn damage after you get hit, because you're down by 430% damage with like over 1,000 attack stat. But most cleansers usually have buffs attached to their skill, so those buffs are just going to be put directly onto the enemy team, and that's what makes Sparklight such an insanely good hero. Has a lot of versatility, a lot of usability, and he easily makes the number 3 spot. Now, in second place, we have Gestalt, or Gestalt. I don't know how the hell you say his name, but he is an insanely good hero. So I mean, you might be surprised. He is maybe, he's been out for a little while now, but he's still running a decent team power of 957. He gets a really good class, and he gets the Nightmare Family passive, which I love. But this special, it's just insane. I mean, so let's take a look. He deals 300% damage to 3 random enemies. So that can hit 1, it can hit 2, it can hit 3. It doesn't really matter. It's just random. But these hit enemies become afflicted with this magma cube. And while they're affected by that cube, they get 34% decreased defense. Now the cube explodes in 3 turns, does 300 damage to the owner. And if the magma cube's cleansed, so you can heal and cleanse it, you can cleanse it off, but it gives a decrease of 34% mana generation for 3 turns. So it doesn't sound like that much, but it really, really is impactful. This guy is just an insane hero. And then if you do get him to the second charge, that's where things just start to go absolutely ridiculous bonkers. It deals, so now he deals 350% damage to 5 random enemies. Plus, remember, he gets that passive, so he can be dealing about, I think it's 410 if you add the passive on, or maybe a bit more, to 5 random enemies on the board. So if you've only got 3 heroes left, he's going to be wiping all of them. No problems, no questions, just dead. Hit enemies become afflicted with a magma cube. This time it gives negative 44% defense. So you follow that hit up with another hero, and again, everybody's dead. That's why he's so good. He's just a destroyer of worlds, man. And then the magma cubes now deal 450 damage. I mean, what more do you want? This guy is just a monster. And if the magma cubes cleansed, 54% decreased mana generation, and there's just no coming back from that. So that really is why he makes the number 2, is because when he hits, there's absolutely no way back. So that is why he makes my number 2 spot. Now, the number 1 spot for the Fire Heroes in Empires and Puzzles 2024 goes to... There she is. The newest goblin that we have in the portal. The goblins, I don't know what to say about them. It's like gremlins. They're just taking over. Pepper Flame's no different. Again, one of the heroes that you'll see just littering top defenses. She is running at fast speed, and she has fantastic stats. But she does have a really, really good special as well. So she deals 485% damage to the target, minus to nearby enemies, and then she gets the growth effect, which is super powerful because she gives the caster and nearby allies 330 increase on their attack. and that's every time she fires running at fast speed. So, a second ago, somebody you're facing had, say, 1100 attack, and that's a lot. After she fires, suddenly they've got 1430 attack, and then she fires again and they've got like 18, 16, 1700. It's just ridiculous. You get where I'm coming from. She can make a really, really good Titan hero as well, just with that growth effect. And then the target and nearby get negative 34% defense for 3 turns. And she makes a really good hero and equalizer as well, because if the effect's removed before the duration ends, the target suffer 577 flat damage extra on top of what they've already received. So just for sheer versatility, usability, fun factor, you can't really beat Pepper Flame. Even though she looks really disinterested, I'm actually offended by the way that she's not looking at me right now. But yeah, guys, that is my top 10 legendary heroes, and I may have given this away a little bit earlier, but we do have a new blood hero here as well. So I'm just going to flick through these heroes back through the top 10, and we will check out. It wouldn't be complete without mentioning Lodius. I mean, this guy is going to be a contender. His special skill is absolutely awesome. We know how impactful Timaeus is from the Owls. He made my number 1 in the Ice Heroes list. And this hero hits with about 700 more damage than he does. Granted, it's to a single target, but if the target's defeated, the nearby enemies can't gain mana. I really do like this effect, and you know what? I'm not 100% sure where this owl's going to land with those axes on his feet, but I think he's going to land pretty close, if not inside this top 10 list. So that is it for the top 10 fire heroes in Empires and Puzzles for 2024. Please let me know what you think of this list. Please let me know if you agree, or if there's anybody that you think should definitely make the cut that I didn't mention. Let me know. I'll pop them in the comments, and I'll see about sort of squeezing them in if we can. And then also, please do drop us a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and if you don't want to miss any future videos. But that's going to be all for now. So I wish you guys everything of the best, and I'll see you all again in the next video. Bye for now.